Hi, my name is Jack Neely, and welcome to the second Realm Linux training video for NC State University. Today, we're going to talk about the Realm Linux management tools, also called Project Liquid Dragon. To get to the Realm Linux management tools, it's easy to do from the linux.ncsu.edu website. That's the easy to remember URL. And you can see in the left panel there is a Secure Tools link. Click there, and you see a link to the Realm Linux Management Tools. The first thing you'll probably note is the Realm Linux Management Tools require you to be authenticated. So if you're not authenticated yet, you may see this error screen. You may also see a very similar screen if your access permissions are not configured correctly, or you're trying to get to a resource that you don't have access to. Once you get to this screen and see that it's guest user listed here, you know you're completely unauthenticated, so you need to log in via RAP. And poof, welcome to the Realm Linux Management Tools. So the Realm Linux Management Tools was first designed and implemented to give additional statistics, logs, errors, and feedback about our Realm Linux deployment base. So the first thing you see is some general stats about Realm Linux here at NC State University. You see a graph listing the Realm Linux machines as they're deployed through campus, and a little historical information about their status. And you can click on that graph and see more historical information back into the past. You notice this graph charts out supported clients in green, unsupported clients in red above, and currently installing clients the thin line of yellow. The blue wiggly line in the middle is the current number of clients that are checking in. And you can see that those are a chart of the numbers listed here to the side. A graph of problem clients is available as well. Red for clients that are not installing normal updates. Yellow for clients that have other problems that we might want to check into. And indeed, that was the first goal of the Realm Linux Management Tools, is to let us see those specific clients. Today, the Realm Linux Management Tools has grown to work with our web kickstart system for debugging and other utilities, as well as integration to our configuration management systems, pconfig and Puppet. So let's find something useful. As you scroll down, you'll see a complete list of every department that exists here at NC State University. We're going to scroll down and find the Unity department. We'll pretend that that's our department we're looking for. We click there and we see a list of all the machines that are registered in the Unity department. Green machines indicate that things are going well. Red machines indicate there may be some sort of issue. There is a supported category up front. Down at the bottom, there is a non-supported category. Non-supported Realm Linux machines are machines that were not installed with Web Kickstart, or have for some reasons fallen off the network for a period of 30 days or more, and rechecked into the Realm Linux Management Tools. So let's look at our first machine. We're going to choose UNI00AMQ. This is our RabbitMQ server, and will serve as our example. Note it's green, so this machine is in good operating condition. Let's look there. A click there brings details of that host that we just clicked on. You can see what Realm Linux version it's running, what department it's assigned to, and you can actually change its department if you have authorization to the target department as well. Each Realm Linux machine has a unique identifier, and that's listed here. The machine is in the support category. Received RSA key means that we've properly checked in with the Realm Linux management tools. This machine has been converted to Puppet. Actually, it was installed with Puppet to begin with, so it's well on our way to our new configuration management system as we move away from bconfig. You can actually see when it was installed, or actually this is when the machine first registered, and the last time the machine checked in. If your machine is a Puppet machine, there are several more actions you can look at. The Puppet inventory tells you all sorts of information about your machine that you may be interested in. From versions of software, FQDN, what type of machine this is, kind of handy stuff. You can also access the Puppet run reports as well. You can even delete the host, although if the machine is still active, it'll check back in as unsupported. Below the detail, you can see a number of status messages, of things that the client has reported to us. A lot of these for Puppet machines will be Puppet messages. The client message is the Realm Linux Management Tools client that checks in from your Realm Linux machine. You can also see information about updates. From this page, you can also get to the Manage Host Attributes page. Each host is part of a hierarchy in the Realm Linux Management Tools and its department structure. Each department can have attributes, and each host inside a department can have additional attributes. A host inherits any departmental attributes that aren't overridden. So let's click there and see what we see. The first part of this page tells us the host attributes that are imported from your web kickstart data. You can see when the last import was, and you can also click the import button to re-import web kickstart data. This helps if you've changed information in your web kickstart config and wish to apply those changes to the current client. Below, you can see the current attributes this host has. Inherited attributes are attributes that were inherited from a department level. Attributes without that word in parentheses are attributes assigned to this specific host. At the bottom, you can also add your own attributes. Attributes are mostly useful in passing information from the web kickstart config to the host via its configuration management tool like Puppet. You can extend this system by assigning attributes to departments to alter the configuration on each host within that department as you access these attributes through your Puppet configuration. Okay, let's look at other useful tools here in the Realm Linux Management Tools. There is a search box and a search tab up here so that you can very quickly find hosts if you know their name and you have authorization to look at them. And that takes us back to our detail page for our RabbitMQ server. I'm sure you've watched the first Realm Linux training video where we talked about installing Realm Linux hosts with the Web Kickstart tool. So you know that the Web Kickstart debugger and other utilities for managing your Web Kickstart config tools are part of this application. There is a tab of currently installing clients. The number of currently installing clients is also reported on the front page. This is a list of clients that have requested an install but not completed the check-in on the other end of the install. So these may be installing currently, or the install may have aborted or been stopped by the system administrator before it completed. There is also the Problem Clients tab, This takes us to a list of clients that are checking in with a problem of some type. We might need to look at what's going on here. Let's scroll back down to the Unity tab and look for Linux 01 BLD. So as we pop over to the status page, we see it's supported, it's checked into the Realm Linux Management Tools OK, Puppet says we're OK, this machine is checked in recently, so it's not something that has fallen off the network. There's no alert that the machine is not installing updates. So generally, this machine appears to be in reasonable condition. But scrolling down and looking at the status messages, you see that the Puppet service is checking in with a bad status message. So we can click on the full message text, read the full message text, and note that there is a problem with Puppet. This machine needs to have some of its VMware package adjusted, or its Puppet configuration adjusted to take care of this particular problem. We can also see that daily updates are not checking in properly. That's what the update status message tells us. We can click on that message and see the full output of the nightly yum run. And by scrolling down this very long error message, we can see the error message at the very bottom that there is a package that does not have a public key installed, and Yum is complaining about installing a package that it cannot verify. So these are a couple problems that the Realm Linux Management Tools has enlightened us about a specific machine without having to log into the machine or do advanced troubleshooting. We now can immediately go to the solution. Realm Linux Management Tools also keeps some statistics about the versions of Realm Linux that are out in the wild. Each Realm Linux version is based off of a Red Hat Enterprise Linux version of the same version number. And you can see that most of our machines are running 6 or 5, but there are a few machines still running 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is not currently supported as of this recording, so these are machines we might want to check into and see what they're still doing. Perhaps they're in a closet somewhere and need to be investigated and upgraded. Usage statistics. This tab shows us how many people are logging into Realm Linux. Each chart is divided up by department, and there is a total usage statistics up top, which shows us all the data collated together. This is mostly usage from Realm Linux labs throughout campus, and we can see the amount of people that are logging in simultaneously. Of course, you can click the graph and see some more historical data. At the bottom is a link labeled Not Running Updates. This takes us to a list of Realm Linux clients that are not applying updates for whatever reason. Scrolling back down to the Unity department, we see Linux 01 BLD is in this list, and we've already seen the error message from its yum update run. Another machine, UNI00LDAV, a test box of ours. This machine has a warning message here that it has not received a status information regarding a yum update. In fact, this machine does not list any status messages whatsoever. So there's a problem with how this machine is checking in with the Realm Linux Management Tools, or it's not running the proper cron jobs. Finally, there is the Access Permissions tab. Many of the utilities under this tab require authorization for each particular department, so you may run into an error message depending on which department you have selected or how your access permissions are set up. If you feel that your access permissions are in error, please open a remedy ticket by emailing linux@help.ncsu.edu, and we'll be glad to get things sorted out for you. Clicking on the Access Permissions tab gives you a little bit of information about your access permissions. You can see all of the Realm Linux ACLs that you're a part of. The ACLs are based off of our AFS PTS groups, and they're named similarly. The Liquid Dragon ACLs subtab lists all the ACLs Liquid Dragon knows about. Let's look at the Installer ITD Unix ACL. And you can see it comes from a specific PTS group and a specific AFS cell. This page is only available to admins, but it tells us that folks inside the Installer ITD Unix ACL have read, write, and administer permissions on the Unity department. And that's generally how access permissions within the Realm Linux management tools work. The Realm Linux Departments subtab lists out the entire department hierarchy in sort of a tree view so you can get an idea of how departments are related to each other. You can also create a new department by typing it in here and hitting the submit key, although you must have access to its parent department to do so. The Web Kickstart Directories subtab lists all the Web Kickstart directories that we know about and attempts to map them to a department. And we can update that map if the Realm Linux management tools couldn't figure it out or that information is not quite accurate. The RHN Groups subtab shows all the groups within our RHN satellite and which department they are mapped to, and allows us to make sure that mapping is up to date or not. It also shows us the amount of Red Hat Enterprise Linux licenses we're using in each department and group, and what the percentage of the total usage that is. This is the page we look at to get an idea of who's using how much Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which helps with our billing efforts. Puppet repositories are also scanned and analyzed by the Realm Linux management tools, and they too are mapped to a department. That is the Realm Linux management tools and some of the things it can do. In the future, we hope that the Realm Linux management tools will be able to automatically provision RHN groups, Web Kickstart directories, Puppet repositories, just by the click of a button to create a new department. Other things that we're working on is setting up more Web Kickstart tools so that you can set up a Web Kickstart install directly from this web interface rather than having to edit a text file in AFS. We also hope that this utility in the future will be able to manage each and every Realm Linux system administrator throughout campus. So with a click of the mouse, you can add a new Realm Linux administrator to your department, or change their access permissions for which departments they manage, or remove or add without having to submit a remedy call and have one of the folks up in OIT do it. That's it for this Realm Linux training video. I hope you enjoyed.